Alright, here we go. Sorry, I realized I was like, I could talk about this, but realizing that I have to start at the start. Because I doubt that everyone's listened or watched like the 600 hours of video that Frank and I have done. So while I've said a bunch of stuff on those videos, again, I'm just looking, strap yourself in. Here we go. No, basically it was starting with the medical concerns that I had, so that I was losing a lot of weight. Went through a few different treatments of how to gain or stop losing weight, really, and put back on what I had. So coming in at 6'5", 6'6", I was down to 165 pounds. Not heavy enough. So after some anti-nausea medication that didn't really work, sending cameras up and down, dietitian, or nutritionist I think he's called. Basically I got a prescription for medical marijuana, knowing that one of the basic effects of marijuana is the munchies, that it was sort of well known. And while the immediate doctor says, well, I don't want to prescribe it, but you might want to give this a go, it was known that this was going to help put on weight. Very little doubt. And it worked. And so I came back up, and I've been floating around 170 to 180 since then. Now, medical marijuana, like when they put you on it, it's to stay at a steady dose. You don't just kind of do it once in a while. This is, for me at least, it was how I eat, how to keep everything stable, as it were, in terms of digestion. Going off and on, your digestion gets messed up, and that nausea can, just even if you don't have, I guess what I have, that can lead to nausea. So to stay on a steady dose, but if you look at it from, say, an occasional user, someone who's using pot, as it were, smoking dope on a recreational level, the actual quantity that I take in is much higher, incredibly much higher than would be any recreative user. Like, I would doubt that anyone in my circle that I know smokes consumes near as much as I do, even right now. The prescription is for 3 grams a day. So, if you're in street lingo, that's an eighth of an ounce every day. We're talking, what is that, 3.5 ounces a month. And this keeps me in a state of sort of steady, it's a steady state. It is a steady state. I'll leave it at that. It is a steady state that definitely works for my digestive system. As prescribed, I use it to initiate, incite hunger, augment my appetite, get over nausea. It works really well for that. There are other side effects too. It does seem to have, in terms of personality, a general calming effect, so that, I'm just kind of a nice guy all the time. Just all the time. It's just a general sort of feeling off and on, between doses, as it were. When I get up, when I go to sleep, just kind of a nice guy. Just wanted to add positive things to the world. Whereas when I'm not on it, and I have, since being prescribed, actually quit a couple times, just wondering what the effects really were of a long-term sort of steady high dose of marijuana. Well, I consider a high dose. There are actually people that take higher doses than that. Coming off it, I did see definitely personality changes besides the appetite. Wow. Like, we're talking like proper nausea. Like, and I think Sean knows what I'm talking about. Like, coming down. Oof, that was, wow, wowity wow. That was not pleasant. Loss of weight again. The last time it was sort of fairly quick loss of weight. Much quicker than I thought, even while I was mindfully trying to eat, over the nausea. Like, I can actually eat through it, like taking smoothies, pound some calories right through that nausea, and it calms. It actually, in smoothies, it's nice and easy to digest. So even while doing that, but probably not mindfully enough. I wasn't measuring calories. I just thought, hey, look at me, I'm doing better. I'm slamming calories past nausea. Still losing weight. So it was upsetting. And then I went back to dosing myself in order to get, really for that principal reason, is to get weight back. But again, the personality you could see that change back and forth. So I would be a little bit snappier, say. A little bit more short. I still, I'm not an unnice guy, but perhaps where I might have made a joke, I might make more what we might call how do you say, assertive, being an assertive comment, like just really expressing what I feel, even if it might come across as a little bit more harsh. Yeah, anyways, so I can feel that. The personality changes affected as a secondary effect of this medication. Other secondary effects, like what works best for me, especially when nausea comes on, is smoking, basically. Combustion it's the quickest way that the medication gets to you, so it goes straight into your system. You can always vaporize as well, which is similar. You take it into your lungs, and then it goes straight into your blood system. I've got a bunch of these, these edibles, some toffee, some cookies. There's some cookies, some proper good stuff, and that's really another method, but it's still keeping the dose, but taking out that damage from the lungs, as it were, that I will definitely get from smoking. So the preferred method, smoking, definitely has some side effects. What else can we say about that? There is one other thing, and again, perhaps not proven, it's one of these medical things that, again, coming on with the seizure disorder that I have, there are weakly proven links between, marijuana and reduced seizures. So if that is an effect, somehow that does weigh on my mind. If I quit, then maybe I'm upping the risk of a seizure. I am medicated for seizures otherwise, but that this is kind of maybe a protective measure helps. But if I also change a medication that directly affects my brain, then that might also incite a seizure. So that's, again, it's perhaps a weak justification. I don't think I'm at risk for any kind of grand mal, or any kind of big seizure. It might be just something annoying. I don't know. We'll see. But that's a possibility given the literature, as it were. So all to say that I have this medication. So as I said other times, feel like I'm not a pothead, but rather a medical marijuana user. But at the same time, I don't want it. So almost against, I would say against doctor's orders. The doctor couldn't offer me any other solution. Even last month I asked for it, and she says, well, basically, cold turkey. Well, that's awesome, cold turkey. But then I can't eat cold turkey if I'm going cold turkey. Anyways, not super useful on that end. But that I do want to go, like where I can, again, mindfully go through it so that I don't need this, which does have, again, effects on my brain waves, as it were. That I would rather be Fraser and not Fraser plus a substance, even if it's a medication by doctors. Because again, there's that. So I want to get off marijuana. As it is, I'm having difficulty, even when I want to, even when I have this fully in my mind, difficulty getting off of it. So in that sense, that's where the addiction comes in. That however I justify it, I do truly believe and see a path forward without marijuana, and with, say, very, very reasonable amounts of risk for not taking it, say. In that I can compensate for the eating, I believe, and there's not real risk of seizure. So without any real risk, benefits, I'm still having troubles getting off it. So that's where the addiction comes in for me. Not that it's an abuse to try and get intoxicated, and that's where I think we're coming at it with Frank. And for me, it's not about intoxication, because as I said, like, I take it for medication, and as I see it as that. I have two other medications, and one is for the seizure disorder, and the other is, we'll say, for other personality issues in terms of the hyperactivity disorder, and a little bit of we'll call it the ups and downs. The bipolar one. Anyways, that we have bipolar 1 and ADHD, as it were, fully diagnosed and medicated. Recently on the ADHD one, I was saying to the doctor, I said, I really want to get off of this. Do you think we can do this through therapy and just kind of real good methods? And he said, no, it's bad enough that, again, as you see me now, this is tranquilized by, this is not me at the hyper state. So he basically said that it's extreme enough that, no, I'll probably be on the ADHD medication forever and the seizure disorder medication, the seizure medication forever, knowing that if I get another seizure, my brain gets more damaged, more scar tissue, and I get dumber. So out of those 3 medications, marijuana, seizure, and personality medications, marijuana I think I can get off of. While it's a medication, I think I can get off it, so justification to stay on it means that I think it's an addiction. That third one, the third one should be the middle finger. The middle finger is really the bad one. So we got to get off marijuana. So, marijuana? That's what I'm saying. So again, whether it's a problem for me and affects my daily life in terms of work and family, I would say no. And if so, it would be, again, on that slightly positive way in that I'm just a happier person. So people around me might see less friction. So I think that might be a slight positive, but not necessary. Like, I can be nice without being on weed. Without being so direct. So anyways, justify. It's the monkey on my back. Do you know I have a literal tattoo of a monkey on my back? It's to represent my addictive personality. So yes, I know I have addictive personality, and I know that this medication is playing that same game with me, where justifying using it is unjustifiable. I can see that going on, the illogic in my mind, and that's the addiction. So that's the setup. I've asked Frank to help me out with that, to try and, work through this so that I can get off of it. He's agreed generously. He is a very kind guy. Sean mentioned it before too. Frank, though he's going through a tough time, wants to help other people. That's pretty cool. You know what I want to help over? Oh. Oops. Sorry. No, I want to... Oh. That one hit the emotional button. Oof. Like I call it. I'm like, Frank's going to help me. Oh, yeah, by the way, Frank needs a lot of help, guys. Not a lot. Frank does not need a lot of help. Frank is awesome. Frank is a rock. Frank doesn't think so, but... Whew. He's solid. You're solid, Frank. Anyways, so Frank and I are going to talk later, because Frank has generously and given... is going to talk to me about this, help me talk through this. And then we're going to get on into, and again, trying to fit that into the theme. Let's get back to the topic. Fit that into the theme of united against the enemy. Me and Frank, seeking truth. Together. United against the enemy. All right. Look forward to more of this stuff. All right. Talk to you later.